It's recording.
We have just been listening on the Guardian, is it radio?
Yeah.
To a
Podcast.
cosmologist speaking about the theory of multiple universes and the fact that causation must be a part of the philosophical exploration of this idea, and the idea that, in other words, the idea that is basically depends on the a conceptualization of time in which you have it depends on the accepting the premise that there is such a thing as before and after. For there to be a cause, it must be followed by an effect, and the cause must be before its consequence or its effect. So there's a before and after um, prerequisite and a priori assumption that has to be accepted. And I would like to venture the idea that of before or after, but and not both, and perhaps even never both. This is an idea that comes from Kierkegaard, essentially, and it was very key to Niels Bohr's complementarity idea about wave theory and photon theory of light. Light waves, either waves or quanta of light, waves or quanta, not both. And this really comes out of one of the Kierkegaard's essays called in corresponding neither nor, not both. In a writing of his called Concluding Scientific Postscript, in which he has the essay about the diary of the seducer and his influence on Niels Bohr's quantum mechanics is crucial here, and in the history of cosmology, one of the most important of the themata, which is explored by Gerald Holton in his book called The Thematic Origins of Scientific Discovery. Complementarity is one of these sources and very key to the theory of relativity and particle physics. The philosopher that we were listening to, who has this project about referring to multiple universes, and the use of thread theory, which probably has to do with alternative worlds or universes, and whether there are some principles of constancy. I mean, we know that the idea of the expanding universe and the speed of that expansion, or velocity of that expansion, is key to post-Einsteinian astrophysics. And this is all being questioned by this astrophysicist philosopher as a philosophical project, really. This goes back to Aristotle's work on the universe, and which is epitomized by Galileo's work, early cosmology of Plato, and the work on Timaeus, on whether there is a eternal entity such as God the Father, or an eternal spirit. I believe this is laid out in his book Timaeus, and but I forget whether it's a dialogue or just expository treatment of this question. And this is really predates any philosophical works from Greek philosophers of the school of Plato, of the Peripatetic school, and this is in Neoplatonism, in his work, the Enneads. There's a Neoplatonic work. There's more discussion of this and of these questions, and also in Lucretius, the nature of things, res naturis, the Republic explores res humana, or res, which means events having to do with men, res viri, events of men, such as the use in the Aeneid of arma virumque, arms of man. Kano, I sing of the arms and the man who, from Troy, came to Rome, returning from the Trojan War as a warrior. Aeneas is brought to Latinium, where Rome is then founded, and you have Italia. Finally, he's, I think, carrying his father Ascanius on his shoulder from the ruins of Rome, of Troy, after the attack by the Greeks, trying to recover the stolen Helen. and restore her to her husband Agamemnon. And when they return, and which is the event is celebrated in the great poem of William Butler Yeats, Leda and the Swan, and in the lines the, referring to the swan who impregnates Leda, and from this fertilized egg with the sperm of a swan, and it is the lines, a shudder in the loins engenders there the broken wall, which refers to the hymen of the violated virgin female, the broken wall, the burning tower, and Agamemnon dead. So from this event follows the whole consequences and aftermath of the Trojan Wall. Agamemnon returns from Troy to be killed by Clytemnestra's son, or Orestes, and this is the great tragedy that is written by Aeschylus, of the cycle of the Aristeia, when Orestes is murdered by Clytemnestra, his mother, and where he murders his mother's lover, Agamemnon, dead, and then his tragedy is that he must be punished for this and executed himself. So that is a tragedy of Orestes, and you have the whole cycle which was performed at the Greek theater in Athens in the festival time seasons, and this is one of the greatest plays by Aeschylus in the whole Theban cycle, starting with Prometheus, the Aristeia, and the tragedy of Oedipus and Jocasta, which ends with following the example of Tiresias, blind Tiresias, the blind seer who could see the future. Oedipus plucks out his own eyes, and then has to be led by his daughters, Antigone, and back to Colonus, and that's the third of the Theban cycle of plays. It was followed not by a comedy, but it was a kind of a goat play, referred to in a peculiar way. And the last line of Leda and the Swan is the question, because Leda has been caught in the swan's bill, and his last line is, so caught up in the brute blood of the air, did she, Leda, put on his knowledge with his power before the indifferent beak could let her drop. It's I would say, a rhetorical question, the answer to which is yes, she did put on his knowledge with his power. And that is the extent of what I have to say, but please do not forget this proposition: before or after, not both, and perhaps even never both. In this problem of causality and the idea of any patterns of constancy and regularity in the formulation of multi-universes and application of third theory, which my stepson Eric Goodhart was working on, was multi-dimensional geometry necessary to formulate or test any of the formulations of third theory, which I do not fully understand what those arguments or propositions are. So I shall end my discussion of these possibilities of multiple universes and the question of when did they originate, and do they continue to evolve, changing or transforming into other essentially similar phenomena. I end my speculations hoping to pursue these ideas further in relationship to the cosmologist who was basically lecturing cosmological questions and arguments, and which was featured on Guardian podcast, and which we still preserve by having put it on pause. I can pursue this further. This is all I have to say for now. And we're here on the 12th of December, or the 10th of December, tomorrow being the 11th, when a new friend is entering our memoir by the name of Jane Mackey, coming from Boston and arriving tomorrow morning. And she will then be picked up at Lisieux at the train station, having come out from Paris after arriving from Charles de Gaulle Airport there to go to Gare Saint-Lazare and take the train to Lisieux. So I pray for her safe arrival and not too much stress from jet lag, the time changes, and the long trip, because I know she is a frail person suffering from Crohn's disease, and we will take good care of her, give her all the support and assistance that she may require. I pray for her being free of any crisis that demands treatment or medical attention, but here she can rest well and be comfortable and safe. I offer these prayers and with anticipation of meeting her and getting to know her. And I've heard many, many positive things from my son Nicholas about her. And I look forward to this new arrival of a new friend who has supposedly many, many very beautiful and positive qualities. Scottish origin, having arrived on the Mayflower. I'll find out exactly where. And grown up in the Boston area, I assume, or in New England, where I went to school and even taught, and still live in Cambridge. though our house is now being occupied by Kevin Rudd, who was the 26th Prime Minister of Australia, and is passing on his knowledge of governmental affairs at the Kennedy School now, just currently at the Kennedy School on JFK Boulevard in Cambridge, Massachusetts. Thank you very much. I sign off here. Nicholas!